I'm on.
Hello, everyone. DKM episode 4. I got Marcos and Kenny here. How are you guys doing today?
I'm
I'm
doing all
doing
right.
good.
It's good to
We're
hear.
doing good.
Good to hear. I'm doing good too, guys. Doing pretty good. PlayStation 5s are really hard to come by. I got lucky. I'm going to be picking up mine on Saturday, so I'm definitely looking forward to that. Kenny, how are you liking the new Xbox? Was it a worthy upgrade? Are you liking it?
So it definitely was a worthy upgrade. I had the Xbox One X and I can feel the difference. Obviously, the SSD, it makes
Mm-hmm.
a big difference. Anybody that's used a computer knows that. Um, for people that don't, hard drive, there's a platter that spins and there's a needle that runs over it, and that's what reads it. So you have to have time for that platter to spin and for the needle to
And God
read at the
forbid you were
same
using that
time.
as your boot drive.
Um, oh man, it's the worst thing in the world. And then the SSD, it's instant. There's
It's
no
flash memory.
reading. It's just read and write, but it's flash exactly. So it's there's definitely a big difference with
That's
load times, as well as.
That's what I'm very interested in
I'm
with
sorry.
like
Go
with
ahead.
this new console generation. The fact that like both Sony and Microsoft are now like standardizing like SSDs, and I think nowadays I think we could say that like SSDs have been getting cheaper or a little bit more affordable with all these different formats. I got
Oh yeah.
M.2, SATA,
Yeah, that's
and
that's Moore's
what's
law
up?
right there, baby. Moore's law. It's a technological law where either things get twice as fast, or stronger, or holds more memory within 2 years with the same price, or the same unit like will half in price. As technology goes, it's just people find new innovative ways to stay competitive. One of the great facets of capitalism, I guess. Faster stuff, better stuff.
Competition essentially, and
It's
competition
just
breeds
that,
improvement and things like that. So as a consumer, we all benefit from it. Nice, nice.
basically.
Unless your PlayStation and your console is being pretty poorly
Yeah,
received
I
right
mean,
now.
I've been hearing like a lot of like these reports, and I mean that's to be expected with like whatever these first release systems. I'm definitely looking forward to get mine, but I
Mm-hmm.
also like to remind that like a lot of these like reports and stuff can be incredibly overblown. I think we all remember like the Chromecast video talking about the Switch's painful launch, and everyone thought like, oh, this was a guarantee, your Switch is gonna like self destruct when you bought it and stuff, but
Mhm.
it's just over
Mhm.
exaggeration. I mean, like, and it's not even like other consoles had these issues as well. Like, I thankfully, I think I have a later gen PS4 Pro, but like the first gen release of the PS4 Pro sounded like a goddamn jet engine. So, you know,
Yeah, and even the newer ones still have its issues, but you're right on that first gen. I play with a good friend of mine, and I could hear
like revving the
his
fuck up,
PS4
especially
running
play like games like
because he
Warzone, for example.
even playing what is it, Monster Hunter Iceborne. It happens, and it's not as a demanding game as, well, obviously
Does
Warzone, but
do
yeah.
SSDs really like make that big of a difference? I mean, I'm assuming they just make like.
On the console space, absolutely. Like, so there's a feature on Xbox
Mm-hmm.
called Quick Resume, and what it does is there's a cache for the game, and it literally starts you back up from the same spot that you'd left off at. So like, let's say you're playing, we're gonna go with Cyberpunk. Rest in peace, Cyberpunk. We're gonna go with Cyberpunk, and let's say you're in the middle of a mission, you hit start, it pauses the game, right? Maybe you want to go play Call of Duty with one of your friends. Okay, so you go and you play Call of Duty with one of your friends. Quick Resume is going to put uh, Cyberpunk into a cache file, and it's going to sit there. Now, it depends on how many games you have open. You can have, I believe it was like up to
Oh wow,
five
I
or
thought it was only like
six
two.
in that cache. Yeah, no. So like you can open up, like, let's say, depending on the size of the game as well. Let's say you have like Gears 5 open and you have Call of Duty, and you can swap back and forth between Cyberpunk and Gears, and then Call of Duty will kick you out because it's online. Any online component's going to kick you out because you're sitting
Right.
idle for
Kick for
too long.
inactivity.
I've used it already. I think it's cool. There's definitely a use case for it. And then graphically, I think uh, being able to play GTA 4 at 60 frames for the very first time is a
Yeah,
technical
I
marvel, to say the
I
least.
agree. GTA 4
Wait,
was
GTA
run on
4?
on a really really crappy Euphoria engine, I think it was called. And yeah, it's not as aged as well as far as like performance goes. Even when I play it on the PC nowadays, it still struggles a little bit. But GTA 4 is one of those like slower burn, not slow burns, but a little bit more like not as snappy as like the older Grand Theft Auto games. But at least with GTA 5, they proved it at least a little bit more. Um, but yeah, I was just doing some research because I really want to get myself like a new gaming PC probably by the start of the next year, and I was curious to know like how much of a difference do like SSDs make. For
Oh yeah, I could tell you. I mean, I have two SSDs in my main rig.
is it so you only
So
use
I have
SSDs? Okay,
currently only SSDs. The only moving parts in my computer are the fans from the GPU, the fan for the liquid cooler, and the fan for the
okay,
PSU. Other than that, it's all solid state. So my my SSDs, like, and now in recent years laptops have
yeah,
been
those
using
are
it. I turn my
gigantic
computer on
improvements. If you have
within.
like an old crappy laptop, just swapping out to an SSD makes a world of a difference.
Oh yeah, but I turn my computer on and within 6 seconds I'm already in the
Nice.
login screen. Yeah, so the drives that I use are the Intel 66, or what is it? It's 660p. They're not the fastest ones that they have, but they're definitely decent. And they were cheaper, so like I think my 1 terabyte was like 130, and then my 2 terabyte was
Mm-hmm.
268, 270. But it was worth all that storage and money. I mean, you can always do like a smaller 512 SSD. I'm using the M.2 SSDs. I'm not doing a 2.5
You mean like
inch.
SATA?
Uh, yeah, no SATA, because SATA limits you to only six
Yeah.
gigs per second.
For me, I only have one SSD. It's a Samsung 850 Evo. I think I had like a 128 at one point, but that died on me surprisingly, and Samsung replaced it with a bigger one. I just mainly use it as my boot drive. It just saves me a little bit of it's a little bit. I will say this though, my sister has an SSD on her computer, and I noticed that like scrolling through Steam is much more smoother if you have it installed on an SSD. Not just the games. I'm talking about like just Steam itself. Because right now I have like a main hard drive,
Yeah,
like regular hard drive, for my Steam games.
right. Yeah, I mean, user interface period, when you have all your like programs and everything on SSD,
Snappier.
it's just
Yep.
instantaneous almost. Um, Same goes for the consoles, it relates over to that as well. Unfortunately with PlayStation right now, you can't use the M.2 slot that they have available, but Microsoft has that external SSD, which is apparently hot swappable. I haven't tried it yet because I don't have a second one, but
Um. Well,
um
yeah, I agree. Like, I'm a little bit like bummed the fact that like the SSD storage of the PlayStation 5 is like less than 800 gigabytes, and from what I've read, it looks like fills up pretty quickly. Um, the good thing is
oh
that
yeah,
at least you
yeah.
could still preload all your PS4 games onto an external hard drive, which I have here right next to me. So that's my
Yep.
game plan, is to just have my PlayStation 5 only played the my SSD only used the PlayStation 5 games because that's the only thing you could do, but move all the PS4 games to that external hard drive. Um, so yeah,
Right. Okay, so I saw it was a video from I'm not sure if you're familiar with Rich
yeah,
and
I
Review
know.
Tech USA. He had his PS4 hard drive. It was actually a USB-C to USB-C plug for an M.2 external hard drive. where he had all his PS4 games loaded into. Well, he unplugged it while the console was in standby mode, and it corrupted his
Yikes.
NVMe drive.
Oh no.
So you're gonna have to do a complete power down if you wanted to unplug that external hard drive.
Well, remember what they taught you in all those technology classes? Like, heck, even
Safely eject.
USB. Safely eject your USB.
You thought it was a joke,
I
motherfucker.
mean, who would have thought? Who would have thought the engineers were actually right on something?
Very first
Um,
time.
But dang, that sucks though. This is I'm assuming he had all his in-game memory saved onto the cloud.
I gotta
Not
still do
Oh
that,
yeah, yeah,
actually.
yeah, exactly. So save games are most likely in the cloud, and he had all his like games that he was playing currently on his PS4 on that NVMe drive, and he hooked it up to the PS5, unplugged it. I forgot for what reason it was. I think he wanted to plug it back into his PS4, and when he plugged it back in, it even after formatting everything, he still cannot get
Oh, it
that drive
completely
working.
bricked the hard drive.
It didn't. It only bricked it
Oh,
onto the PS5. It did not break it on any
okay.
other device. Just the
Okay.
PS5.
that sounds like a format
Yeah,
issue.
You know what? And he formatted it. He formatted it on the computer, and then he tried plugging it back up, and it
that's
still didn't work.
that's a big F,
Oh
man.
wow.
F in the
Yep.
chats.
Hopefully he didn't. Hopefully he didn't mess up because it works both ways. You could mess up not just the USB, but you can even mess up the port. If
Yeah.
that were the case, hopefully he didn't mess up anything too bad. Obviously, it looks like since it works on his PS4 and not his PS5, hopefully something didn't get fried inside his PS5.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's the
Yeah.
console just came out. Obviously
Of
it seems
course,
that
they're still
PS5
working out
had
kinks.
right. PS5 obviously has a lot more to work on. It has a lot more stuff, but I like to view it like this, and a lot of people should really, really take this into consideration when going into consoles or anything new. In this hypothetical, let's just say we have 10, or let's just say, yeah, well, 100 uh, PS5s, and only 1% of that batch is bad. Well, you have one PS5 that's bad. That's pretty good. But if you have 1 million PS5s, 1% is going to be very substantial, especially since everyone's
Right.
connected to social media, and people are going to start complaining about all their issues. Now you have multiple PS5s that are out there saying, "Hey, look at my thing. It's bricked," even though it's the same 1%, which I think comes up to 10,000 PS5s. That's 10,000 units in one batch, and everyone's complaining about it. So obviously, it's got kinks to deal with. I'm pretty sure the majority of people's PS5s are
Oh
working
yeah.
just fine,
Oh
but
yeah.
just imagine 1%
It's
is
all a matter of
all
perspective at that point.
is just basically it's
Absolutely.
like saying, "Hey, a lion's chasing you," and then out of nowhere, one extra lion's chasing you. Well, that's double as scary compared to if you're being chased by 75 lions. It doesn't matter if there's one more because it's a lot of lions. So it's a matter of perspective. People should take it for with a grain of salt. I'm not trying to be a simp boy for Sony, but
For Sony.
it's a matter. But it's a matter of perspective. Obviously, Xbox doesn't have its issues compared to PlayStation, but it still has some issues. Obviously, people were talking about the what was it, that fake thing
Yeah,
where
that
people were
was
vaping on
hilarious.
their
Some
Xbox
people actually
saying,
thought that was
uh,
legit, and I was like, man, that seems like a really cool feature that Microsoft implemented.
I've
Oh
worked with
yeah.
electronics for a bit, and I'm pretty sure you guys might have as well, but that video that surfaced did not look like
Fuck
an electrical
no,
fire
nah.
whatsoever, and
No,
I'm like,
no,
and I'm
no, it
like,
wasn't.
that's not that's
And
not right.
something else about the PlayStation 5, which I forgot exactly who it was that tore it open, and like they had an issue. I think it was one of the devs from Rocket League or something like that. Um and don't quote me on that one on from the source location, but what happened is I guess in manufacturing, like some of these PS5s are making noise, and people are rolling it out of
Hmm.
this coil line from from the fan. Well, someone, tech savvy enough had taken apart the PlayStation 5. All he did really was just remove the side panels and then remove the fan. And there's a sticker that's, during manufacturing, I guess it either got loose or the adhesive might have melted or whatever the case was. It's getting into the fan. So like it's rubbing against the fan when the fan's on, so it just sounds like a really loud noise. So he went even further than to remove the fan. He opened it up and just removed the sticker altogether. But um, it's
A
just
glaring oversight.
it's it's an oversight, but it can be fixed. It's just now you have all these PS5s out here in the open. What's going to happen with those that already have it? You know what I mean? With it being such a simple fix as to just remove a sticker, but it's on top of a ribbon cable, so you can't
And I'm
just
assuming
rip
that
it
even
out.
just opening up the system already voids your warranty, so some people might not even take that chance of, But
Exactly.
hey, man, at least nothing will top like wrapping your Xbox 360 in 12 blankets so it overheats. That's me,
Yeah,
man.
exactly. And that was a
Fail rate.
50%
Like as much as
failure
people want to
rate.
complain, like, oh, the
Yeah.
Switch was having problems or this or that happens. Like, hey, man,
Well, the Switch was having problems because of
not
the
just
user,
that,
not
but
because
also,
of
people also had like other
like
shit problems too. But it's just like, hey, man, look, these are just like
yeah.
over exaggerated, overblown. Like the Switch was the hot ticket item. A lot of people
Mhm.
were easy to just jump on the bandwagon and make fun of the Switch for like failing and shit or having these problems. I will agree though that the Joy-Con drift is a serious one. Granted, I'm lucky that I never had that issue with any of my Joy-Cons, but I
Me
do
either.
know people that had Joy-Con drift. And I don't like that Nintendo's acting like, oh, it's just exaggerated. Like, I don't know about that one, Chief.
Yeah, it's frustrating, dude. It's super frustrating, especially if you're playing
So
a game where you're taking things seriously. Like, funny enough, Smash Bros. Uh, it's something that it's really annoying. You're trying to be as accurate as possible on some of these games, and if you're taking it seriously, it's kind of annoying. But again, this is why people really tend to overhype any new system release and really jump on it, which is why actually, Kenny, on your point, I've seen multiple sources where people just really recommend to keep the case off for the PS5,
oh yeah.
in order the fans to work as optimal
Yeah,
as possible.
there was a Gamers Nexus video on it
Mhm.
where
Mhm.
Steve, the main guy there at Gamers Nexus, he uh he put some thermal probes into the PlayStation 5, and it drops like by 5 degrees Celsius, which is a significant
Oh
drop.
wow.
Yeah, so the sides of the PS5, I mean, though not very intrusive, are acting as an insulator. And what's even worse is if you leave one panel on rather than two, it could make it actually hotter. How, I don't know,
Oh
but
really? It must
yeah,
be some draft, some crosswind type of stuff. I don't know. Maybe a
yeah,
difference in pressure.
it's probably super in like engineering,
It's kind of
something
funny
crazy
because
with
apparently there was
engineering
an
that they
interview that
figured
said
out.
that the designer of the PlayStation 5 wanted to make it actually bigger, and he wanted to make the
What?
the PlayStation
Oh my
bigger. Like they
god.
literally had to tell him, "No, stop! It's too big. We need to put this in a box."
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
No, you
the
just
box in
chuck
and
it
of
at your
itself is
customer.
a thick boy.
I mean,
Oh,
Well,
the
you know what's
box for the
crazy
PS5 is big.
is the box is just about as thick as the Xbox's Xbox box
box
X.
ghost.
And
I am the box ghost.
well, they're just about as thick, but the PS5's is like significantly taller. Like it can probably be two Xbox Series X boxes, box X Xbox.
XX box.
Can we be serious here? Can we be serious here? Obviously, Xbox is working with Nintendo because the Xbox Series X fits perfectly underneath the GameCube as
It's
peripheral. Come
it's
on,
all in
guys.
there. It's all in there. It's genius marketing. Um,
Oh
I love
man.
it how it's just
But
perfect.
on the side of consoles. So Danny, you
Yes,
said you
I was
secured
about to say
a
that, ladies
PS5.
and gentlemen. Yes, I got lucky, and hopefully, when this episode goes live, no one knows where I pre-ordered it, and I don't get robbed. So that's gonna be fun. So I'm just when I pull up to the Best Buy to pick it up, I'm gonna get the little objection prop that says "survive." So I'm looking forward to that. Anyways,
You just
yeah,
said
but no one
where you
knows
got
where
it
exactly.
from.
I'm throwing these hints out there.
It's somewhere
Oh
out in the
boy.
U.S. Just know that.
Um. So yes, I got lucky. I did manage to get a pre-order in for the not pre-order, a order in for the PlayStation 5, and I could tell you guys a great story. So earlier, I think it was last week, I originally was gonna try to get the PlayStation 5 at Walmart, and Walmart's website is not the best. It crashed like several times. Just to put everything in perspective, right? This day, I knew that whatever forces out there didn't want me to get a PlayStation 5, because as I was pulling up to my house to get the PlayStation 5, not to like sit down and like mash the shit out of F5 to try to get a pre-order order in, there was a house fire that happened down the block from my house. And I was like, well, that's not a good
Oh
fucking
wow.
omen. But whatever, I shrugged it on. I didn't get any sleep. My eyes were burning. And I was me with my two friends, Ziad and Alice. If you're watching, shout out to you guys. You guys did the real G's. We were having fun. We were like making memes and stuff about like, oh, when 3 p.m. hits, it's gonna be the calamity. Everything's gonna go to shit. And spoiler alert, yeah, everything went to fucking shit. I tried to place the damn system in stock like 4 or 5 times, and the website crashed on me like 4 times. And I would get this little cute little blue screen with the little dog with the antler on his head, and I'd just be like, oh, that's cute and all, but now I'm really getting mad at this fucking dog. I don't want to look at this goddamn dog anymore. I want to order my goddamn PlayStation. And yeah, so eventually, and some people might be saying like, "What, Danny? Why do you want to get a PlayStation so badly?" I gotta get my Demon Souls, guys. I'm sorry. I love From Software games, and Demon Souls is the only Souls game I haven't touched. Well, that's half true. I played a little bit of it back in the day, but this was before like the Dark Souls memes and whatnot. So I didn't know the legacy or the predecessory, is that the term I want to use? Um, so I'm really excited to play Demon Souls. But anyways, to finish up the story, how I managed to get the pre-order in. Uh, Earlier this week on Saturday, or I think it was Saturday or Sunday. No, it was Saturday leading to Sunday morning. Um, Best Buy started their Black Friday sale. Now, they never said outright that the system was going to be in stock, but they hinted at it. It was just like a flyer. They said, hey, keep an eye on the PlayStation. It's not like Walmart where they says like the system's going to be stocked at this time.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's crazy about that is GameStop sent me an email earlier today saying that they're gonna have some Xbox Series X available this
Yeah, but the
afternoon
thing is, though, those are the
for Black
bundles.
Friday.
Actually, that was about to get into that. While I was looking at Walmart, GameStop also stocked up the PlayStation 5. But unfortunately, though, it was one of those like really excessive bundles that I really don't want. Like the closest one that had like the stuff that I kind of wanted, like had Miles Morales, Demon Souls, an extra controller. No, no, no. Wait, actually, no. It didn't even come with Demon Souls. It came with NBA, Miles Morales, an extra
Hmm.
controller, and PlayStation Plus, and a headset. All of it together, when I added it to the cart, would have been like $1,000. And I'm like, damn, man, I
Wow.
really want a PlayStation 5, but this is no different than paying for a goddamn scalper. Um, but I told myself,
Yeah,
no, I'm not.
but you get more things than with a
I mean, yeah, and a
scalper.
bullet to the chest, most likely. Um, Yeah, I'm sorry if you don't know. I really don't like scalpers. I think they're fucking douchebags, and I don't like the fact that people are actually going out of their way to buy from scalpers. I actually refuse to buy from a scalper because that's
Did you hear
People
about
are
the
desperate,
scalper
man.
that
really
got
what happened
robbed?
about him.
Yeah, it was in Toronto. It was in Toronto, Canada. So the scalper, he reached out to, or somebody reached out to him on Twitter, and he gave out his personal information,
Nice.
like his address, and he got robbed at gunpoint.
That's that's fucking bad. uh,
And honestly, I felt like that was a much deserved robbery. I don't condone,
I don't think
illegal
so. Nothing
actions,
condones.
but But
There was nothing here that forced anyone to get robbed. The dude was just being a douchebag, but that doesn't warrant
I think the
him
worst case
being
scenario
robbed.
was the
But
douchebag who got all
regardless,
the hand sanitizers when the pandemic started. Like that guy is a massive asshole.
you want to hear some bad stuff. Some guy panicked because of the whole pandemic stuff, and he bought a bunch of masks only for New York. I think it was somewhere in New York, whether it was New York City or somewhere in the state, where the state officials came in and took all the
I think I
masks
heard
that he
about that.
had.
Yeah.
oh wow.
Yeah, it was scummy, but regardless, it's still people are using desperation of some people. People just don't have patience. They don't have, uh, I would say the ability to just grasp and just say, yeah, I can wait for this stuff. I mean, a lot of games are already coming out for the PS5 or coming out for the
Yeah,
PS4
actually,
already. Some of them,
I could
obviously,
say
like
my
Demon
piece on
Souls.
like Miles Morales, for example. Well, to finish wrap up the story of the PlayStation pre-order. So yeah, eventually at like 5:30 in the morning at my job, I just randomly checked the Best Buy again, and the thing was in stock. And let me tell you, that minute of like trying to put everything in as quickly as possible before the app would crash was really fucking stressful. But I finally got one, and I'm so excited to finally get the PlayStation 5 this Saturday. So finally excited to also play Demon Souls. I don't know if I want to shell out and get the goddamn deluxe edition, or as some people call it, the gamer journalism edition, because it basically gives you some decent
Hmm.
items from the yeah,
The
gaming journalist
journalist.
edition.
The I will say though that I played. I think it was on the PS3, Demon Souls, for a bit. It was fun. Um, I'm just hoping it's not too bad, like the DS1 remake or remaster, the Dark Souls 1 remaster. I didn't quite like it. I put my opinion on it, I think, on episode 2 of DKM podcast, but regardless, it's something, just me being an elitist of just people, just them chasing the physics and how
So
certain
it's not a
things
one
work.
to one.
It's still a good game. It's still a good game, but that's just me
Yeah.
being wishful.
Right.
Beggars can't really be choosers, so I'll take what I can get, but I prefer the original. Hopefully, Demon Souls isn't. This is not the case for Demon Souls.
Well, the Demon Souls
But
remake, from what I've heard,
honestly,
is a faithful remake to a T. It really doesn't add any new content. You see, there was like a lot of demand and asking because the Stonehenges, there's like I think 5 or 6, and there's one that was destroyed. So people thought like, oh, this could be content that was before. We could reintroduce it back, um, back into the game. But yeah, I heard really 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 good things about this remake, and I'm excited because again, like this is the only Soulsborne game I haven't played. I played every single one except, well, a little bit of this one. Long story short, this is when the PS3 was still new to me. Back then I was so into the whole like first person shooter Call of Duties and shit, so I didn't really get into it. And again, this was before like, oh, this game is like super hard. It's gonna put hair in your balls. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, okay. It's just a difficult Zelda game, so I didn't think much of it and went on my merry way. And then I discovered Dark Souls and then fell in love with the series from that point on. But yeah, so I'm definitely looking forward to it. I can't wait to stream Demon Souls. I'm super super excited.
Yeah, so on the topic of pre-order stories, talk, getting the Xbox Series X was probably one of the most stressful
Was it as
moments of my
difficult?
life. So I was actually really nervous starting like just before it was like 20 minutes before pre-orders
Okay.
went live, and I was like, my heart was racing. I was starting to sweat. I was sitting in my hotel room, and I was sitting there on my phone. I'm like, man, I really want to get one of these. And my buddy's like, oh, if you can pre-order me one. I said, okay, no problem. So, I had like 5 or 6 tabs
I
open. I
was
had
like
like
that too.
Walmart,
I had
GameStop,
Walmart,
Best Buy,
Target, Sam's
uh,
Club.
Target. Yeah, I had the Microsoft store, and I think I had one more store open. I'm not sure. Um. Anyways, so I try. I want to say Target first because I felt like I had the best chance there. So I open up Target and then I move straight to GameStop and I start loading all the pages. and I load up, Target's
Nice.
already out of stock, 2 seconds in. So I say, okay, screw it. Then Walmart allows me to throw it into the cart and add it to the cart. So I start trying to set that one up while I'm also loading in for GameStop. But GameStop had the stupid queue thing, which I had to wait for. And then I moved on to the Microsoft store. Funny enough, the Microsoft store was like the last page that I opened up, but that was the only one that I got it through.
Most directly from them. It's funny because like
Um,
PlayStation also has the same thing,
yeah.
which they put you in this queue, right? And they can literally say like, all right, your wait time is an hour, and then you can wait like 30 minutes in, and then there'll be a little message saying, oh, we ran out of stock for the day, but you can still keep waiting in the line. So it's like you
Oh
finally make
my
it like, all right,
god.
asshole, but yeah, we told everyone already.
Black Friday came early,
You get
boys.
nothing.
Black
So
Friday came early, waiting in lines.
So,
You know,
I get through the queue on the GameStop website and I was able to add two to my cart. Apparently, you had a limit of two Xboxes that you can pre order
Oh,
at
okay.
GameStop.
wow, you trying to be
Well,
a
most
scalper
stores
there,
only
Kenny?
limit
Huh?
one order per
What?
person, which frustrated me because like I tried to
So,
add the PlayStation 5 to
yeah.
Walmart, the cart glitched up, so I went back to the store page, added it again, and they'll be like, "Oh, but you only could get one item." Like, I know, that's what I'm trying to order.
Yeah, so, like, I, I throw both of them in the cart. I start inputting all my
Payment information.
information to ship it. Yeah, payment and shipment information. As that's happening, I'm hitting the continue because the
Yep.
websites were crashing. Well, I move over to Microsoft and I add it to my shopping cart and it just crashes, man. I mean, it was crashing like crazy. So I'm back and forth between both of them. GameStop finally said out of stock. Walmart said out of stock the moment I hit pay. Um, and then Microsoft, I just kept refreshing. It was like 15 minutes after pre-orders went up, and I finally got one. I was like, "Holy
Yeah, that feeling,
Jesus!"
man, it was so fucking good. I was jumping up and down at my job. I had my coworker come in and think like, "Oh, damn, Daniel, did you win the lottery?" Like, no, dude, I just spent $500 on a new box that I'm gonna play one game in. I'm winning.
Kenny, when did pre-orders start for
Oh
the
God,
Xbox Series X and S?
September.
Wait, the story you said
It
this was
was. I think it was September twenty
this was
second.
pre-orders we're talking about, right? You trying to okay.
Yeah, pre-orders. Yeah, September 22nd was when pre-orders went live.
Okay.
So it's definitely been a
I don't
couple
know
Did
if
it
months.
day
like
one?
Yeah, I
I
got
don't
it
know
day
if the
one.
PlayStation 5 had I think it did had a pre-order sec. I don't know if it like ran out as it did.
It did. Oh yeah, it
Okay,
ran
that's
out
probably like
instantly. It was the following week after the Xbox, so I think
wasn't it after like a
no, it was
presentation
like
or something? And I think that's probably why I wanted the PlayStation 5 because I knew they were
hmm
going to make a Demon Souls remake, but damn, making it a launch title was like, "Oh fuck, now I need."
Well, the issue with the PlayStation, it was a big. Oh no, that's right. The pre-orders came out before Xbox's pre-orders. So what they did was Walmart came out and like tweeted saying, "Hey, PS5s are up today." It was like September 15th or September 14th. They were supposed to come out September 15th for pre-orders. And like Walmart shit the bed and just said, "All right, you guys can pre-order now." And that was the reason why so many people were actually able to get PS5s was because they just did a
Right.
surprise release. And then all the other major stores opened up, their pre-orders, and PlayStation was probably just super pissed at Walmart. But
They
that's what
didn't like
happened.
fall. They didn't wait until like given the okay. Yeah, I think I've seen cases like that before.
Yeah, it was
Yeah, that's
before
what I was
embargo.
thinking about
It was
embargoing.
before
Yeah.
embargo.
Um. Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely looking forward to it. I can't wait to actually, the Demon Souls remake is top priority for me. And I was saying is that so yeah, I did play Miles Morales, which was originally going to be my PlayStation 5 game. But if I could give a quick review of it, I
Mhm.
think Miles Morales was hella dope. It's just not worth the $50 standalone package. That's just my take on the matter. If you're listening to this, guys, I recommend if you're interested in Miles Morales and you haven't touched the new Spider-Man game, I would personally just wait to get a PlayStation 5 and just buy the Miles Morales Ultimate Edition, because I feel like you get more bang for your buck. Because for $50 for Miles standalone is not worth it. I was able to 100% the game in literally 2 days, which I never did in Spider-Man 2018. I still haven't even done the DLC, and it was great. It was very
We're talking about 100%. You mean like all the crime has been solved, all the puzzles have been done, every little small side
in
event
Miles,
has
it's
been
much
done
more
in
cut
game?
down. It's more like time capsules, AR challenges. What else is there? Just beats. I'm making that up. That's a side quest. It's very much collectibles, but thankfully with Spider-Man, probably I could safely say like the Spider-Man games 2018 and Miles might be my favorite open world games to traverse through. I never ever wanted to fast travel. Like
Oh, they're
I
so fun.
legitimately get excited thinking, "Oh boy, I can't wait to swing over here. Let's see how fast I could go. Let's see if I could break my record and stuff." So, yeah, Miles is great. It's just very very short. It's very clear cut. The story goes from like you find out who the main villain is. You know what the main villain's motive is, and then you know who the villain's identity literally between 3 missions. So it's not like Spider-Man 2018 that had like this whole conspiracy and you have to like figure this out, and then oh no, Shocker is robbing the bank again. We got to go fuck with him. You know, it's a very direct story. I guess the best comparison I could think of is like Burial at Sea from BioShock Infinite. If you put the 2 episodes together, it will be like about the same amount of content, but a little bit more. But yeah, it was good. It was definitely good. At least now that I do have the PlayStation 4 version, I could just upgrade to the PS5, which I really like. I do like that this new backwards compatibility, as I've been chilling about so much, is that it's not just emulation of just okay, now you're able to play older games. They're taking advantage of the newer hardware. So mainly speaking, to shorten it, I'm really excited to play Ghost of Tsushima again at 60 FPS.
I wanted to say, even in the original 2018 Insomniac Spider-Man game, I didn't. The only reason I fast traveled is to get the achievement to fast
Oh,
travel
okay.
to use the trains. That's really it. Especially if you have unlocked a good amount of Spider-Man's his the what was it, the traversing perks and all that stuff, the ability to zip, not, what is a zip line, you're able to press X twice to
Web
move
zip.
horizontally forward a lot more time, web zip, right, able to, the moment you land you can
Point
roll,
launch.
the moment you use point launch, all that stuff. It just makes traveling a whole lot more easier, which makes NG Plus a lot more um exciting. It's a lot more satisfying. You don't feel like a brick, relatively
Miles is
speaking.
weird
But
because
yeah,
he actually retains some of those skills. Like I think he doesn't have roll launch, but I know he has point launch from the start. I know that for sure. He doesn't have as many gadgets too. Basically, if you just use gravity well, mine, and web blast, you're pretty much like cutting down the opposition fairly easy. Which did get a little bit repetitive. And the venom powers, it first took me a while to get used to having to remember to hold L1 to in order to do like actual damage, because I'm pretty sure you know this, like the Spider-Man games do not play like Arkham. You actually have to hit these people a good amount of time. They don't just knock down with one blow, and you know they actually like to jump on you. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, Miles is good. It's a great standalone, and it makes me, but it's no like Spider-Man 2. Even though it's on its own disc, it is not a full-on sequel.
it feels like an expansion to me.
But yeah, I'm definitely looking for, and
It's probably what it should have been. Was like
DLC.
a
Yeah, I
$30
think so too. I
expansion,
think it should have done it, but I guess that because they're
and then just do the remaster of the 2018 and release that with that as a
that's
DLC. But they wanted it to be like a
right.
launch
I think that's
title,
probably what
but
it was, that they needed.
and that's what they spun it off as, was a
I think
launch
that's probably
title.
what a lot of people are going to be
Frustratingly
like
enough.
disappointed when they pick it up, is that like, yeah, this is not the same amount of quality,
Hmm.
not quality, quantity of as Spider-Man 2018. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna get the Ultimate Edition when I get the PS5, because damn, watching Spider-Man playing at 60 FPS is fucking beautiful.
Well, given, and I'm not sure how much experience or knowledge Kenny has about Insomniac's 2018 Spider-Man game, but uh, the story was rather nice. It kept me on my toes sometimes, and it was very it tugged on the heartstrings in certain moments. Um, but it was very straightforward. You know, you have it's experienced Spider-Man, experienced Peter Parker. He has his gadgets done. He's obviously done with school. He's done with that awkward phase with being Spider-Man. So I'm looking forward for Spider-Man 2. I'm looking forward for a lot of these other games that are gonna have sequels. I can only assume Ghost of Tsushima is gonna have a sequel as well. How great that game
It's
did.
easily my game of the year. Like no
Hope
cap. Like game of the year, Ghost of Tsushima.
I'm not trying to be political here, but given how Game Awards aren't really, or awards in general aren't really something hmm, that can be very contentious at times, where you're like, oh, this game obviously should have won, but this game got brownie points because
It told a
it what do you
story,
call
guys.
it? It
That's
it
why Last
targeted
of
this
Us
group.
2 is going to be
Right,
as a nominee.
right. So Last of Us 2, the Game Awards are coming
They're
up.
gonna. I'm betting right now
Hopefully,
they're gonna show the
uh,
hell out for that game. They're gonna ignore all the bad press,
uh,
the underwhelming gameplay, things like that, and they're just gonna praise it for saying it's telling a message, a really bad message, but it's really out there, guys.
it's a message, Dan. It's a
It's not.
message,
It's
Daniel.
yeah.
Come
It's
on,
the
man.
equivalent of
Don't
writing
don't.
shit on the wall and saying like war is bad. Yeah, guys, I really wrote that message really well. You see the peanuts in there really express like the problems and violence and shit. I seen Princess Momonoke. I seen Pocahontas.
Well,
I know war is bad. I know the cycle of violence is awful. Thank you. Um. So yeah. I'm definitely looking forward to that. So let's steer away a little bit from consoles. I think we already. We already bowed to the Sony and Microsoft overlords. What else has been going on in the world?
Oh
Well,
man.
I believe AMD just released
Oh yeah,
something
yeah, yeah,
along.
yeah. So they released their 6800 and 6800
Are these going to
XT.
be products that I'm never going to be able to
Um,
get?
absolutely,
Mm-hmm.
they're already sold out.
Yep. I can't. We just
Let's
can't get
see,
nice
but
things this year, guys.
well, it's because bots, man. Bots in the
You
pandemic
got
are
people
just,
sitting at home and they're just
it's
like, I'm just gonna program bots.
oh man. It's
Imagine that, knowing how to set up a code to create bots to do things for you. Gosh, you guys are so
It's like I
dumb.
like to imagine like you're just doing that interview with Will Smith with the iRobot, and he's just like, "Did you buy all these products?" I did not.
But it's kind of crazy because the 6800 and the 6800 XT are practically the exact same card. One's just, I believe it was a higher clock. So you could probably, if this runs true, you could probably like BIOS flash the 6800 to be a 6800 XT and get some extra performance. Now,
So
don't quote me on it. Don't even try it unless you know for a fact that you can
it's
do
the
it.
equivalent of SpongeBob's anchor
But
arms.
uh,
Oh yeah,
pretty much.
inflatable anchor arms.
But it definitely there's a definite like advantage that they have, which is the value proposition. A lot of these games that they were touting, giving better performance than the 3000 series. Unfortunately, that's not running
Mm,
true. Like they're still really good and they're really close and competitive.
but it's not a fair comparison.
But I mean, it's not fair when you're running
That's
RT. So if you're running ray tracing, uh, that's where it falls short because it's their first iteration of ray tracing, which unfortunately is in the Xbox and
Can you turn those
PlayStation.
off? I'm just legitimately curious.
Oh, so Cold War, coincidentally enough, has ray tracing implemented on the console versions, and it's supposed to be like localized shadows, sun ray or sun casted shadows, and ambient occlusion. Um, and it runs at 60 if it's on at 4K, and if you turn it off, it'll allow the game to run up to
Nice.
120 frames.
Nice.
Granted, if your TV is capable. Funny enough, though, Rocket League runs at 120, but it doesn't run at 120 on PlayStation, and that's because on Xbox, the One X, they had the variable refresh rate on that console. They had it for that port, but they didn't have it for the PlayStation, so they have to redo an entire port of Rocket League in order to get it to the 120 on PlayStation.
Interesting.
The I will say though, with regards to a lot of these game companies or developing teams and game studios taking advantage of next gen. Even though Cyberpunk has gone through some of its own issues, giving out just a lot of some of these companies just giving out a free upgrade to some of these games. Like
And that's what
obviously The
smart
Witcher 3
delivery is
is one of
for.
them.
I think
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
nice thing, and,
And
like I said, like even backwards compatible games that aren't getting like PlayStation 5 like versions, they're just getting like patches and stuff to
Mhm.
take advantage of the equipment.
Unless you're, Call of Duty or NBA
Wait,
2K21.
what does Call of Duty do?
well,
You have to buy the next gen version if not
Oh,
you're playing
okay,
the backwards
yeah,
compatible
yeah,
version.
yeah.
And same goes with Control. So I found out a reason why a lot of these ports are not doing so well on Xbox versus the PlayStation. And remember the rumors back in the day, like we're talking nearly a year ago now, where they were saying that RDNA 2 is going to be running on the Xbox Series X and RDNA quote unquote 1.5 is going to be running on the PlayStation. Well, apparently Xbox waited until RDNA 2 was ready for them to send out their dev consoles. So like devs were running off of this APK that they can work on, and it's supposed to scale with the next generation because they have this APK that they created for their developers to make everything more streamlined, and it has better features built into it, so you can create the game, but then you don't have the hardware to test the game on. And it was about 2 months, I believe it was 2 months before the console came out, is when they started to get their hands on the dev consoles. Hence why, and this is my theory, why Cyberpunk's been pushed back,
Oh,
and why
I believe that. I think that on
why Dirt 5 looks worse on, Xbox versus PlayStation, or Assassin's Creed Valhalla runs worse on Xbox than it does on PlayStation, is because they've had the PlayStation for a lot
they
longer
knew how to
than the
like
Xbox.
know how to use the equipment at that point. At that point, you're just like shooting in the dark and seeing like, all right, is this gonna hit projections of performance? Huh? Yeah, actually,
Exactly.
I'm not
actually, you
mad
know
at
what?
that.
I'm really interested in giving the new Assassin's Creed a try. I went to pick up a copy with a friend of mine, and I don't know. I've just been interested in it. I'm very interested in these like more modern, not modern, but like more action-oriented adventure style Assassin's Creed games because I'm very interested in that. Um,
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of Odyssey, but this one's definitely got my
okay,
fingers in
yeah,
it.
I'll just wait for the eventual Ubisoft sale.
I've heard a lot of mixed reviews though. I've heard a lot of mixed reviews on it. I've had friends who really abhor the game. I had people who think it's great only because you get to play a specific character. I won't spoil it, but you know, um, it's everyone has their own cup of tea, and it's with any game really. So I've got tired of the Assassin's Creed formula. It's not something for me anymore. It's not. It's just going everywhere. And
But it's
other
it's really different from the older
Yeah.
Assassin's Creeds. So like this is why I'm enjoying the game. This is
I
why
get it.
I'm engaged in this game versus, let's say Assassin's Creed 3 to Assassin's Creed
I-
4. Those games
I
were
get it.
very similar.
Right. You
Very
gotta remember
similar.
that this was a franchise
Now, if
that
you
was
compare-
getting released like every year, and there was a gap between like I
Yeah.
forgot it was Unity or Syndicate, and then there was Origins. So they clearly had to do like a bit of like soul searching. They would say, okay, people don't are tired of this. We have to do something completely different, even though it's under the Assassin's Creed IP.
Hmm.
I feel like it's more like focused as action
Hmm.
adventure games.
I
Yeah,
just
so
I and this is just me being petty, I guess. I don't know if I would call it that, but from the trailer, given the historical context, Vikings were um, rather known to be pillagers, and in the trailer, the main character. I'm not saying he can't have this side of him, but he let women and children go, all that stuff, and I'm just like, well, historically, I view it. It's viewed differently, so it's nice to see a nice Viking, but I would love to see an anti-hero of sorts. Uh, doing good through
yeah.
questionable means, even though his motives aren't entirely clear. But again, mixed reviews. I'm willing to take a look at it, but I'm not really gonna spend on too much money on a series that I'm just not
Yeah,
that into anymore.
No, I
my
So
got
history
you,
with the oh, I'm
but
sorry.
like it. I was gonna say, with the Assassin's Creed game, like especially that one, there's these things called raids where you come up to this location, you can
You build a
raid a
little farm.
town for raw supplies and like raw supplies and materials and stuff like that to build up your town. So it's selfish and selfless at the same time, and like I see what you're talking about, but they're not taking a modern warfare approach to how Vikings are. So you know how modern warfare is a much more gritty, more they were trying to get the horrors of war like ingrained in your mind while you're playing the game.
yeah,
Especially,
even 2019 Modern Warfare had incorrect history. With the Valley, what was it, Road of Death,
Oh, the
Valley of
Highway of
Death,
Death.
whatever, where they
hmm
said it was
yeah, the
Highway of
highway
Death.
of
There
death.
you go. And I'm like, that. Well, so I'm not gonna go
That
into
mission
it
in
in case
Battlefield 3 was
anyone
pretty
hasn't played the
ridiculous, though.
campaign, but
Yeah,
even then, it's just I'm like, hey, this is not historically correct, and I'm kind of bothered by it. But I'm not going to automatically say this is the worst game ever because of these
but it's a
reasons.
Yeah,
nonfiction game. That the game was never supposed to be
Yeah, but it
a
takes place
fictional.
in a real world where this Highway of Death, which is an actual event that took
Hmm.
place, you know, in IRL. It's not something obviously I'm gonna be petty about. Obviously, I'm just gonna say, hey, this is kind of wrong,
I
but
still
I'm gonna
think
go with it,
the
because
thing
we
that
have
tops
to.
it the most is when you have to open up loot boxes at Normandy Beach in World War II. I think that
Oh
was like
yeah,
the
and
biggest
then you
Oh
like
get
yeah.
to unlock grips and stuff.
tasteless way of looking at things. But yeah, my history with the Assassin's Creed franchise, I played one, I tried to finish it twice, and I know some people really like it, but damn, dude, I really hate how repetitive it gets, and it always like burns me the fuck out. I did play a.
Assassin's Creed 2 feels the
I
same
don't think
exact
so. I
way.
think two changes up the formula because it's literally like one was the exact same order, the same time. You ride into town, you sneak into the town, you find an informer. Informer tells you eavesdrop. You eavesdrop a couple things. You do two unrelated side missions, and then you go assassinate your target. Multiply that by like what, like 4 or 5 times, and you just get fucking bored. Now, granted, I understand that some of them are slightly different, but it just burned me out. I played two. I remember liking it a lot. It's been a long time since I played it though, and God, what they did to the remastered was fucking hilarious. Um,
Oh yeah.
I never played any of the like Ezio trilogy games. I never played Brotherhood. I never played Revelations. The last Assassin's Creed game I played was three, and I don't remember much about it. Not really.
3 wasn't well received by people, but that's my favorite Assassin's Creed game. A lot of people liked Black Flag, and I didn't because I didn't like the whole ship
Yeah,
warfare.
it seems like ship warfare is either
Um,
you love it or and you love the game, or if you don't care about it, you're gonna hate it. And that was probably me.
yeah, so yeah, to me it made it more monotonous. You would get into these random, naval warfare battles with like navy bases, and I'm like, what the heck is this? Some of them were super hard. You couldn't even kill the base. So
Well, I
that
mean,
game,
Assassin's Creed 3 did a good job with ships to the point where everyone's like, "Dang, if only we had a game where
Yeah,
it's
some
just
people
this."
really like the ship
yeah,
combat.
And well,
yeah. I mean, I didn't really use a ship in Assassin's Creed 3. I mean, you had that one mission or two missions that you had to sail, but I was like, okay, well, this is nice. It's a nice addition to the game, but I'm not absolutely in love with it. So like, I did it, but Assassin's Creed 3, uh, Assassin's Creed 3 and 4 essentially were pretty much the
Yeah, I
same
mean,
game,
yeah,
minus the shipping, like the ship. Like if you got rid of all the water in both games and you just played the games, they were essentially the exact same.
with
Granted,
different timepieces and
Connor is the father or the grandfather of
really.
Edward. Like,
Oh shit! I did not
yeah,
even know that.
that's how that was tied together.
Oh, okay.
Connor is the grandfather or grandson. I need you
Grandfather.
to be clear on that.
Okay, he's the grandfather. He's either the grandfather or the father of
I'm gonna go
Edwards,
Edwards? Who's
The main
Edwards?
the pirate.
Oh, I'm not
See,
sure about that
Connor,
either.
Assassin's Creed. Yeah, I completely forgot about Connor Kenway. It doesn't help too that you don't play as him until half the fucking game.
But I like how in Rogue. I never played Rogue, but I like how the idea of playing as a Templar. You're playing the other
Yeah,
side.
that twist in the beginning of Assassin's
that
Creed
was-
3
that
was
was a
kind of
nice-
dope though. You're playing as
That
Yeah,
was a nice
you're playing
intro,
as-
to tell you the truth. That really was a great intro to an Assassin's
Yeah.
Creed game.
Yep.
welcome
Like,
to the
hey,
Templars. Like,
you
wait,
have the hidden
what?
blade.
Yeah,
Not
so the
even
neat
that.
thing
Hey,
the neat thing about Assassin's Creed Valhalla, I mean, I'm not gonna spoil much. Spoiler alert, if you don't want to know this, cover your ear holes right now, la la la, for like the next 5 to 10
Okay.
seconds. You don't play as an assassin from the beginning of the game.
Oh yeah, that I was aware of.
So
Yeah,
yeah, that's what it's about. Like,
I mean, it's a fairly old game. I don't
like-
think people are really going to be that mad about it.
oh, I'm not. I'm talking about Valhalla.
Oh, okay. Okay, never mind. I thought you said 3. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Okay, then I learned something new. I must have figured that out earlier.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, at this point, I don't really give a shit because, like, Assassins at this point is just a title because in these fucking games, you don't play as one. So I don't really give a shit at this point.
Oh no, I mean you do play as an assassin in Valhalla. Hence why it's an Assassin's Creed game. It's just the way that they introduce you to the
Oh,
world. It's more fleshed out to
so
say,
they pulled an
to say the
Assassin's
least.
Creed 3.
Not really. It's not a plot twist, but it's definitely, it's different. It's not like you were born, not like Desmond, where you're born into the creed.
Gotcha. Man, don't even.
And like you don't start off with like, your normal assassins, like assassin weapons. Like you're pretty much
Gotcha.
just a Viking.
Gotcha.
But the game is smooth. It feels great. Outdoors traversing like mountains and stuff is awesome. Like there's techniques. Here's another spoiler alert. You learn the ways of the creed through gameplay. Like they'll teach you the way, like their hidden techniques or their
Here's how you land on the
secrets
haystack.
as you're playing through the game. Yeah, exactly like that. Like they teach you how to fall into the haystacks. Like that's not already known from the beginning. It's
Okay.
taught. So it's a neat concept. I'm enjoying the game. Currently I'm on a fishing portion, which Jesus Christ, it's annoying because like
What, you don't like fishing?
no,
Guess you
it's
don't
with
like,
the bow and
Final
arrow, and
Fantasy
these fish
15.
these fish swim at the speed of light. So I see them for like a
You gotta
second.
be like Joe Swatson and be like, "You think he's gonna take it? Get in there and kick that fish's ass!" And see the handgun.
Parry this, Castle.
But yeah, I mean, the Assassin's games, to me were pretty
Yeah,
monotonous. Aside from like I've tried playing Odyssey and I just couldn't get into the story. As weird as that sounds, even though it was a well receptive game, like in my opinion, there was nothing special about it. It was more of like the main character was condescending rather than.
You gotta
yeah.
be
I mean,
cool,
like,
man.
No, I don't care about being cool. I care about being, on a brotherhood. This is why it's called Assassin's Creed. It's not called Assassin Me.
Well, it's a good thing they made a game called Assassin's Creed
yeah,
2
there you
Brotherhood.
go, kid.
Exactly.
They thought about everything.
It's not Assassin's Creed
Checkmate.
2. It's not Assassin's Creed 2. It's Assassin's Creed
Assassin's Creed
Brotherhood.
2, Ezio Boogaloo.
You're right. Honestly, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood was a great sequel. Honestly, people think it's the best of the trilogy when it comes to the Ezio trilogy. I remember it fondly to this day how I ended up playing Assassin's Creed 2 Brotherhood Revelations, and from Assassin's Creed 2, I did as much as I can. I didn't really 100% the game, but I ended the game, I ended the story. I had my Assassin's Creed armor painted the way I wanted, and
Did
it,
you
it was
unlock the
nice.
Desmond
And then
costume?
Ezio goes. I don't.
Oh, okay.
I don't think so. But in it ends with Ezio finally going to sleep and just resting after doing whatever needed to be done to fight against the Templars, and then Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, he wakes up immediately where the Assassin's Creed 2 left off, and he's crapping his pants. They're being sieged upon, and it was
Ezio wakes
a
up and he shits
great
himself.
ending to 2,
Assassin's Creed.
basically. To
Yeah, I
cannon
remember
fire.
that. I still remember
So-
I think it was E3 where they showed off the trailer where it was like the gameplay demo where it's like his city gets like.
Yo, Rippy 3,
Oh,
by
yeah,
the way.
yeah.
Mhm.
Rip everything.
Oh, I did want to say, right. I did want to say this though. I kind of liked how in Brotherhood and in Assassin's Creed 2, it showed that in Assassin's Creed 2 you're a novice. You have no idea how to do anything. Therefore, the progression, the assassin skill progression felt real. But in Assassin's Creed 1, you're a master assassin. You are Altair, the assassin, the best assassin that the Creed has in this location. And then just because you lost all of your armor and weapons, you somehow forgot how to do certain skills, certain techniques. And I'm just like, that's a horrible way to
So the Metroid logic.
really. It's just, I'm like, no.
Where did he
Why?
get bashed in the back of the head at the same time when he lost all his armor and weapons?
And he also
Oh
lost
my-
all his
no,
health
it was
too,
just
so like he probably
emotion.
gained.
He lost. Yes, he lost his health.
I still think the Metroid Prime one is really hilarious. Samus gets up in an explosion. He's like,
Dumb.
"Oh no, my armor is gone. Ooh, whoopsie doopsie."
Oh, but I could survive the vacuum of space.
It's
and a
also-
whole lot more. But
That's
Oh,
another
yeah.
thing though. Like video games where it's like characters lose all their progression. At least with like the Arkham games, you keep all your crap.
Oh my god. You know what,
Right.
man? So like
With
a
God of
real
War-
bad contender is like freaking Destiny and Destiny 2. Oh.
but look, even in God of War, you're stripped. People, because they're gods, they go, "Hey, you're dumb, so we're gonna do this to you." Like, I'm talking about God of War, from God of War 1 to 2 to 3. I'm not sure about all the other ones, like for PSP, all the in between games.
Oh, like
that-
Ghost of Sparta and stuff like
basically, that's the one I don't know, but it's just it doesn't feel natural. But yeah, with Assassin's Creed 1, it was a great game for its time, but how they implemented that, like, hey, you're gonna start from square one, is just
It was just
It was-
weird. It's kind of like when like Kingdom Hearts, where they explained that because Sora didn't pass the Mark of Masteries, but yet when you actually play Kingdom Hearts 3 from the start, he's actually way better.
So
Well,
like
I mean-
get like so like Destiny. All right, so get this.
Uh-huh.
You at the end of Destiny 1, you're supposed to be 400 light. You have all these exotics, you have all this armor, everything, right? You know.
yeah.
Here's their excuse for missing like all of it, everything. You went on a mission and you put on this specific armor set with this one gun. You only went with a pistol out of all things to go with. The only one with a pistol and and this one armor set.
Yeah,
And
man.
the tower gets destroyed. Oh my god, the tower gets destroyed. So that means your vault's gone, which means all your weapons and everything that you love is gone. So now here's the smart thing that they did, where the traveler loses its light or loses a connection to its
That was
ghost.
clever. That
Yeah,
was
and
clever.
you
Losing the
lose your
light,
supers. You lose
right?
your
And I'm like,
supers.
hey, that was cool. You felt human. You're like, oh dang, this is serious.
Yeah, because if you die, you die. But it's only for one mission.
Not
So
even one mission. Forget that. Your freaking little guy, your companion goes, hey, here's your immortality back, you idiot. And you're like, wow, thanks.
well, the
Dang
ghost
that.
is like, I can heal you, but I can't revive you, so you can't die.
So basically, he doesn't have
So
auto life.
you know, pretty much. So like,
It was just dumb.
you go through this one mission. It's all sad music, melancholy. Next thing you know, you go to this next mission. You're starting to kill Fallen and stuff, and you hear about this shard of the Traveler. It's called in the European Dead Zone. So it's like, whoa, it's in the dark forest, this creepy area. You go in there, you kill like, I want to say like a handful of Fallen. It's nothing major. You make it to the shard of the Traveler, and like, boom, that's it. You already have like a super back, and then there's these like wells of light, and that's it. Like, what happened with like this real down to earth, gritty sort of feeling where you're powerless. It just went out the window the next mission. So like, with the Assassin's Creed games, talking about how Ezio just manages to lose his armor, health, all this crap. Like,
His armor gets destroyed in Brotherhood, but
oh,
his combat techniques, his
I guess he
health,
got hit in the
I
head,
don't
man.
know
yeah,
about that shit.
yeah, man. He got knocked out. He was in a coma for about 3 years.
No, 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 no. It's just dumb. I will say
So
though, speaking about all this and how we were talking about Spider-Man earlier, I'm kind of looking forward to how they're gonna implement that in Spider-Man 2. Um, a health reset, a skill reset, a gadget reset.
yeah,
Um, unless they find a creative way to not go through that. But yeah, overall, it's something I'm looking forward to.
I
I think another game would be like the Infamous games. Like Infamous
True,
1 and 2. Like, you lose all your powers from the first game to the second game.
I barely touched
true.
the first Infamous game. I was watching a review by
Oh, Second Son was
yeah,
so
I heard
good.
good things about it. I'm just thinking back about like the first Infamous game on PS3, and I remember not being entirely impressed by it. Like, it was fun for a while, but it definitely
Right.
got a little bit boring for me for a little bit. I do have to say though, I really do admire games that they actually are able to include previous gadgets or upgrades from previous games and still implement new ones.
Hmm.
And even though you have the older stuff, it doesn't feel like you're overpowered or the game still has some certain challenge. Like, I bring up the Arkham games because you get everything from
Right.
Arkham Asylum to Arkham City. And I'm not so sure they do that for Arkham Knight, but the main stuff from Arkham Asylum does transfer over to Arkham City. No, Arkham Knight.
Right.
So I do admire that. Actually, you know what? This is an interesting conversation. I was having with a couple friends of mine. We were talking about how do long running story driven franchises keep going? I'm pretty sure you guys know about the big Konami versus Kojima thing a couple years back, right? And the reason
Yeah.
why they
Yep.
kind of broke off is that Kojima was spending all this time and money to like make Metal Gear Solid 5 be this magnum opus, but Konami said, "Fuck it, we want to make a profit. This is getting ridiculously expensive." That's why I'm really worried about how Halo Infinite will turn out, because this is probably going to be one of the most expensive games made in a long time. Um,
And that's okay, because it's gonna be
I
excellent.
hope so.
Let's just be
I hope
hopeful
so.
about
Fingers
it.
And I was thinking, like, we brought up Kingdom Hearts earlier. Like, nowadays, kids now have it easy. A friend of mine is finally going to get into the series. He just has to pay $20 to get all the games on one disc. Well, except for
Oh, talk about easy. All you gotta do in Kingdom Hearts every time you're in combat is press triangle and you get into a Disney ride and you kill everything in the field. You nuke the damn battlefield by going into a teapot. You know, the game's way too easy. I hate the game.
Yeah,
Okay,
you
I'm
got to
done.
do a
All right, and you know what? You know what? Pokemon, man, come on. EXP share permanently on. Seriously?
It's kind
Oh,
of
you
dumb.
want to kill this one Pokemon? Too bad. All your Pokemon
that's
level up.
yeah, and then you got the
Yeah.
Let's Go games.
Yeah, sorry for interrupting. I got a little emotional there.
All right. But yeah, so the point I was bringing up was that like, how do franchises with mainly a story-driven plot between games keep going? You know what I'm saying? Like Metal Gear Solid, in my opinion, it's way too complicated to jump in at any point aside from the beginning. Same thing you could say with Kingdom
Yeah.
Hearts. It's like, and with Kingdom Hearts, that
Or
was released on like
Uncharted.
15 different fucking platforms, so it made it even more
Yeah.
difficult to follow the series.
That's why they make YouTube videos.
Yeah, but
Like this one that you're watching right now.
yeah, but
But even then, the story's like,
it's really weird too
what?
because it's like they clearly say like, well, these games are super story significant, but when you actually finish the game, you later realize like maybe at the tail end of it, there's some plot convenience, not plot convenience, like plot explanation or something. But most of the time, it's like, oh, you could not play this game and not lose a damn thing. Like 358 days for the most part is useless. Recoded feels like I literally finished the game and was like, okay, what the fuck did I learn from this? Like, what spooky shit will happen? Okay, I think we got that understood when Sora got the fucking letter at the end of Kingdom Hearts 2 that hey, shit could happen. Like, I don't think we need Mickey to explain what could happen. If shit's gonna happen, we would know by the third game.
I don't know, dude. Kingdom Hearts 2 was almost a masterpiece, and then all these other things came out, and I'm just like,
For me,
whatever, dude.
Can we just talk about Final Fantasy
no,
for a second?
before
and
we
how
get to
many
that,
iterations
Final
there are of
Fantasy
that?
games have individual stories, unless you're 10-2 and 7. So like they're not like connected
10
to
is
each
just,
other.
I love 10.
I've barely
Perfect.
touched 10. I think it might be my first Final Fantasy I played. I do remember
My first Final Fantasy is 15.
my
by the
first
way.
Final.
So that tells you how much experience I have with.
Oh,
with
it's
that
okay.
series.
My most experience I have with Final Fantasy is through 14, and I first Final Fantasy game I played and beat was a DS Final Fantasy 4, which was balls hard. It was really fucking hard.
Wasn't 14 the online
Yes, the
component
MMO.
one? Ooh, rip your wallet because you had to pay a subscription
Yeah.
for that one.
But in my opinion, though, like, while it is my first MMO I ever got really into, now I'm taking a break from the game. It's really good. It's like, as someone who could never get into MMORPGs for years, I've tried to get into. This was the one that got me into it at a really hard time of my life. So I do really like Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah, Destiny's taking the same approach as the MMO now. Like everything's socketable or modular, minus the weapons. Like that comes random rolled.
You get those
So,
passive buffs.
I don't know. Yeah, you get passive buffs. I mean, they're all passive buffs,
Right.
I should say. Minus like now you have your supers that are also have like passive and active buffs. So I don't know. It's definitely it's taken a different turn. So like you're saying like MMOs that was the first one that you got into. You can technically call Destiny an MMO because that's what the developers have
That termed it
labeled
as,
it
yeah.
as.
I
Yeah.
to this day have yet to touch a single Destiny game. I just never had any interest.
Just well, do yourself a favor.
It's free. I know.
you
I have it downloaded. I
uh,
just every time.
Well, I'm not saying don't start with Destiny 2. Please, for the love of God, don't start with
But
Destiny
I-
2. Buy Destiny 1
I
the
have it.
collection, play backwards compatible.
But I have to.
Hit light level 400 if you can. If you can't, 385 is fine or 390. Um that game's like 100 times better than Destiny 2. I mean, so far I've played the new DLC and they literally removed more content from the game than they added. So it's like a barren wasteland of a shell of a game that it was before.
Because they gotta monetize everything,
Yeah,
man.
Eververse, 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 Eververse,
Mhm.
Mm.
Eververse,
Mhm. Mhm.
Silver, 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 Silver. Like that's it.
And
That's the whole game.
quick
You're welcome.
thing about like MMOs. Apparently, the new WoW expansion came out. I don't know if it's any good. I don't know if WoW fans that.
Hang on. Let me just say something for just one
Okay.
second. Are you ready?
Wow.
Wow.
Way to go.
I'm proud of you,
Way to
Kenny.
go.
Um. Yeah. So yeah, I'm just thinking about like at some point, how did like these like long running franchises with very important plot significance, how do they attract customers? Because it's like obviously though you're gonna alienate the shit out of people if someone has to pick up like game number 12 out of a 18 part franchise. It's gonna be difficult to sell it at that point. You know what I'm saying? But that's just my take on the matter.
Well, if the story is engaging and with each iteration they improve upon the last one, I think hardcore fans such as like Pokemon and stuff, they'll come back. It's that's usually the audience that they're heading for, and if you can make it easy to jump into the like Final
Yeah.
Fantasy games,
Well,
like you
again,
guys
with
were saying,
Pokemon, it's a very standalone experience.
then
You don't
you
have to play like right.
exactly. But there's an overarching lore behind everything that happens. So like I don't know. I feel like if you can make a series kind of like that where it's standalone but it's also, a larger story than itself,
You can appreciate
then
it.
more people are enticed to jump back in. Hence why I think Assassin's Creed didn't follow
I
along with, hey, let's follow this assassin for
That's what
many
I
many
think. Because
years.
like to
Let's
me, I feel like after 3, people stop really giving a shit about the real world plot. Like they're just like, fuck it, I just want to play this game. What the story is going on in that particular time
right.
event. I know that they're all connected, but
Yeah.
honestly, though,
Mhm.
after spoiler Desmond dies in 3, I think a lot of people are just like, okay, we're done. We don't really care anymore. Abstergo now makes video games, I guess. So fuck it.
He
Yeah,
had to die.
he had to.
2012, man.
It was the hot ticket.
Coney
It was the hot ticket item.
2012. Coney
Yeah, that
2012.
that
Yeah,
was a
it's
fucking.
just it was I I'm looking forward obviously to what next gen has to come out with, but it's getting closer and closer uh to PC anyways. So I think the optimal choice is to go for
Oh
your
yeah,
own personal computer. And that being said, it's just yeah, you have to bite the bullet sometimes if you want to get a build that's at least future proof for a bit, and it looks nice with every game that you play, and it's decent frames, decent temperature. You got to drop a little bit more money than your
Right. Right.
current gen
right.
console would cost,
Well,
but
I
it's
feel like I got shot in the foot making my $3,000 computer where my Xbox Series X that's $500 can either perform on a similar level or outperform my computer.
Mm,
yeah. But it's
So,
just because the consoles are specifically they're just specialized and geared in such a way where it can do that. But that's all it is a machine to play games, and
well,
these games are
yeah.
developed to run on these devices.
It's also
So
developed as an ease of use and entry point into gaming, period.
optimization
true.
also has to key factor in
So,
that as well. I remember watching a G Man's review
hmm
of Valhalla,
Hmm.
and he said he was having like memory leak issues with the game on PC, so he finished it all completely
Hmm.
on the Xbox Series X. It's kind
Hmm.
of crazy though,
Okay.
thinking about like that Assassin's Creed Rogue was actually a cross-gen game. Like, yeah, we're gonna make a game for the PS3 and 360, even though the PS4 was out.
well, that was the thing. I think they
They
did a
did
remaster of
eventually,
Rogue
but
like a couple
I
years
just find
later.
like cross generational games very interesting. Like, oh, speaking of which, I am so excited. They finally announced The World Ends with You sequel, and I'm hyped. I am so hyped. 15 years of waiting, and we're finally getting a sequel. I was really worried because Square was pulling the whole, well, if you guys want a sequel to The World Ends With You, you got to buy our $60 remake of the game on the Switch. And some people just, like, the reviews were good, aside from the control issues, but people were just like, hey, man, don't strong arm your fan base like that, because, like, companies don't usually wait for long-term sales. They like to see, like, instant sales. That's why I think, like, the Avengers game bombed really fucking hard.
I was just about to say, since we're talking about Square Enix, how they followed it up after the Kingdom Hearts stuff. They now threw in this adventure stuff. Now it's becoming an Anthem 2.0, where Anthem has to fix this myriad of issues,
Oh yeah, they
which
still haven't
then
even
cause
updated that game.
right. So they have to fix their old issues, which means no new content can be produced, which means
Hmm.
no your hardcore player base leaves and no new player base comes in because you got no new stuff and you're
Yep.
not updating the game. So it's basically a snake eating its tail. It's just constant, and I think Avengers is gonna be exactly the same. I think Steam at one point has hit in the upper 90% of lost player loss, something like that, and people are having issues with finding online matches because obviously you can't find anyone because no one's playing the game. So Square Enix is honestly, this is not their year. Last year wasn't their year either. It's just it's having an issue. Hopefully, with The World Ends With You, it's a difference. But hey, at least an amazing game came out of this year for Square Enix, the Kingdom Hearts rhythm
For
game.
$60 goddamn dollars.
Very
I gotta get
hell
them
yeah,
rhythm
you
games,
know,
boys.
it's
I gotta
definitely
get them
worth it in my
rhythm
opinion.
games.
yeah, man. Come on, man. I'm just
Where's
saying.
Where's
It's
Dance Dance Revolution 2020 on
That
the Wii?
that
Come
like,
on,
Konami
people.
still gives a
Come
shit
on.
about their player base.
true. All I know is that I much like how with Bethesda and the bar was set somewhere high for them, and it was just they didn't achieve it. Same thing can be said for
I think it
Square
also
Enix now.
factored in that they had to pay
Um,
such an extra royalties because they really wanted to get the faces of the actors into the game, and I think that because
oh, really?
at least
Is that really what it was?
that's what I've noticed. What I heard is that like the games, that's man. I'm sorry, but I was under the impression that like the Avengers was like a single player focused campaign, and when I found out there was like premium currencies and shit, and it got like way too complicated, I was
Mm-hmm.
like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna buy your game at this point.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, premium currency. That's great and all, but
But in a
I
single
mean,
player game,
unless
really?
I get it. I get it. I mean, I allow me to
Devil's
be,
advocate.
a fanboy for Warframe, but you can get the platinum currency through hard work, and it's honestly, if you know where to go and how to get it, it's not that hard. But it takes some time. It does take time. It's rather tedious, but in Avengers and all these other games where premium currency are a thing, it's just so scummy.
Yeah.
It's not right. I
Yep.
mean, at least EA so far, knock on wood, they aren't implementing a premium currency on their new Star Wars Squadrons.
Which actually got
But
some
who
new
knows how long
content,
that'll
really. I'm
last?
surprised because the developers are pretty upfront about, like, look, this is a budget release. We're just releasing the game as is. We'll do some minor patchwork and stuff, but they never implied any other content was going to be added. But, I'm pretty impressed.
Mhm.
Some people might, like, rank on the game a little bit, the fact that it's on sale so cheap now, but you gotta understand that Squadrons was a very, very specific market of people that were playing this game. These are people that grew up playing the X-Wing and TIE Fighter games back in the early 90s, and they wanted something a little bit more of a modern take on it. And, yeah, I've admittedly played it in a while, but I had fun with it when I got it.
Basically, I feel like it's the Assassin's Creed Black Flag feel or treatment where they're like, hey, people really, really like this sort of combat, so we're just gonna make a game
Yeah,
based
but
off it.
Hey,
Basically.
well, you know what? At least it's not $60.
That's true.
It's only
That is
30
true.
bucks.
That is also true.
True.
So, it's
And
not it's not a full fat like AAA game.
They're selling you a product
Still
that
better
is
than,
fairly priced, I would safely say.
Mm-hmm. And there's no microtransactions
Good.
as of yet.
Well, let's just hope they don't pull up. I still think the scummiest
it's
of that
EA.
was Crash.
It's EA.
Crash Team Racing. Like that was the biggest fucking douchiest move Activision has pulled.
Are you sure not? What is it? Battlefront 2?
That too, but to be fair though, that was a multiplayer game with an online component. This is a fucking kart racing game. That's where I think I draw the line more. But yeah. So anything else you guys want to like talk about before we wrap?
I think much like with a lot of things in life, if possible, having patience is very good to have. If anyone's listening to this podcast, having a next gen console isn't really going to kill you, isn't really going to separate you from a lot of your friends, since a lot of these games are
and you're not even going to see them in the school bus, so they're not going to point and laugh at you. So
unless you're on PS4 and PS5, the actual OS
it
shows
does.
you
That's
you're
the
on
biggest
PS4
flex
PS5.
contest ever.
That's like cyberbullying times 20 because they're just gonna make fun of you for being on PS4. The good thing about like Xbox is like you can actually talk with people from PC, from the Xbox One original all the way up to the Series X and S, and like it's all interconnected. Like you can play
that's
games.
just a UI thing.
Well, I'm saying you can also like on Xbox Series X and S, you can play Xbox One games with your friends, or you can play the new next gen games and still play with your friends. Like they've made it to where it's accessible for a large audience to play.
Well, I feel like
together.
cross-gen is not as a big issue as cross-platform because now you're dealing with other companies. You're dealing with cross-gen, you're dealing with in-house. So I think that's a little bit easier. Obviously, they didn't do that for the 360 with the Xbox One because reasons. I think you were still able to join an Xbox party, but you couldn't play games with one another. Even a game like what was it? Yeah, GTA 5. Which, funny enough, hooray! Congratulations, GTA 5 for being on 3 generations of consoles. But
oh yeah, isn't it coming out on this generation?
Remember
too?
when,
dude? It was released
Skyrim
on a
2.0.
trailer.
Oh my God,
everyone thought it was
everyone
GTA
was so
6.
bad.
Dude, everyone thought it was GTA 6, and then they started seeing, oh wait, this is the trailer for GTA 5 with Michael in
finally
it.
happening. Fuck.
Honestly, looking forward for GTA 6 because it's more than likely going to be Vice City because GTA 4 was Liberty City, which was GTA 3 in the previous generation that preceded it. GTA 5 is GTA San Andreas. All we're missing is a GTA 5 Vice City world.
Yeah, here we go, Miami,
Miami,
baby.
Guys, and even the Roman numerals for 6 is the V and the I, and Vice, guess what, starts with those letters as well.
Right.
So,
Conspiracy
Poggers.
theories
We
2021.
broke the code.
Poggers.
We cracked the code.
It's just honestly, Rockstar has found their golden goose, and they're not going to let it
man.
go.
I miss when Rockstar
So-
would like experiment with different games, like Manhunt, like the Warriors.
Give me Bully. Give me Bully. Give me Midnight Club.
Oh man, Bully was such a good
Yeah,
game
they re-released
too.
it a couple times, but damn, yeah, I would kill for a Bully too.
It's not the same. I'd rather get I'd rather get a remaster of Bully, like a brand new overhaul with like I'm gonna be disgusting right now with GTA 5 graphics at the least.
At the least.
Fidelity,
like,
yes, but not
it's
exactly
fine, though.
character models. But yeah, I get where you're coming from.
If they could do like a Red Dead Redemption of Bully, like
Yeah, like with the
know,
graphical power.
you got me my $60 right
immediately,
now.
yeah,
Like
hand on table for sure, absolutely with instant buy. But I guess maybe the reason why they have it done is that I guess they can't monopolize like the multiplayer aspects of Bully.
yeah, but
But who would
Bully,
have thought?
like
Who
Bully,
would've thought?
you can't even like that game would be rated A. It wouldn't
Man,
even
that
be
game
rated
trying to get
M
released in
because of how soft.
Oh yeah,
everybody
getting
is.
released back in the day, man, that shit was a fucking mission. But yeah, I get where you're coming from, Marcos. As far as like actually, you know what? This is I was gonna bring up something real quick. How many midnight releases have you guys been to?
Oh God.
I've been the only two. I've
Let's
been one with
see.
Kenny. Was to get Master Chief Collection, which was really funny because Master Chief
Yep.
Collection, Assassin's Creed Unity,
There's only like 6 people.
Assassin's Creed Unity, and the new Call of Duty were coming out at the same time, I think. And I will never
Yep.
forget this interaction I had with this one guy. We were shooting to shit. It was me and Kenny. We were shooting to shit, and we were talking about how like Kevin Spacey was in the new Call of Duty. And some guy walks up to me and says, "Excuse me, sir. Listen, I think with the fact that they're hiring a high quality type actor, Kevin Spacey, it's going to elevate the storyline for the Call of Duty franchise to a whole other level." And I was just like,
And we all know how great
"Yeah,"
that
and I
campaign
was
was.
like, "Yeah, I guess so, man. Good for you."
Yeah, I mean the campaign
The
was
only
okay,
other midnight
but-
release I went to was for Monster Hunter World. Again, I don't even go to these midnight releases to pick up the game. I just go with friends to be like, hey, what do you want to do? Oh, I want to pick up the new game. All right, let's go. And especially with the day and age today with like digital downloads and games ready available at like 12:01 and not having to, wait outside, freeze your balls off, and then later come home, download the game, and then play it.
Right,
You just
right. I I do know that Kenny's been to a lot more midnight releases for himself personally, but I've only been to midnight releases because I was going with friends. I've never gone
Mhm.
to a midnight release because I was getting a game. The only game that I was thinking about doing it was Assassin's Creed 3 because I pre-ordered it, and because I pre-ordered it, I got the metal box that came with it.
Oh,
So,
the
but
steelbook.
yeah, the steel book, but it was gonna be there the next day. So
Yeah,
I was
that's
like, whatever.
that's
I
really
didn't
common
care.
actually. I went to pick up Animal Crossing, and
Yeah.
like the guy at the counter says, "Hey, do you want the pre-order poster?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure. Can I get two?" He's like, "Yeah, here you go." The same thing happened to me with Zelda. Like
Yeah.
I never see like the only game I could think of that you needed a pre-order unless you were never going to get it was Smash Brothers Brawl. Like that game was impossible to
Well,
get after launch.
so like let's see. The
I know you have
midnights
a
that I've
bunch.
Oh yeah, man, I've been to a whole bunch. I've been to the Halo 3 ODST. I think that was the first one I had been to. I've been to the Halo 4, the Halo 5. No, not the Halo 5. I take that back. I've been to the Master Chief Collection. Um, I've been to Black Ops 2. Uh, which other one have I been to? Battlefield 4,
Oof.
and that one I picked up for PC. That one I
You
picked up
went
for
to a
PC.
store to pick
Uh,
up a physical copy?
Yeah.
Did it come with a digital code?
Um, it came with like 4 discs. I still
What the
have it.
shit?
Like I still have it in my collection. Yeah, it's like huge, dude. 4 DVDs. Like, and then Assassin's Creed Black Flag. I have like 3 DVDs.
Kind of reminds me like back in the day to install World of Warcraft, you had to get the box and it had like 6 discs and
The
no,
code. Yeah, I also have the digital or the physical copy of Skyrim
well, great. Now Toddy Boy,
for PC
now
for
Todd's
PC.
gonna be like, well, that sounds like you need more
So-
copies there.
Let, us see.
Just go on
Get a
Amazon
little
and
more
order it
brain
because it
cells
just
there.
works.
I've been to the Battlefield 4, Battlefield 1 midnight. I'm trying to think what else. I
A
want
lot.
to. Yeah, I've been to a lot. We'll just put it that way. But what's funny enough is like not, in recent years, going to these midnight releases doesn't make a lot of sense for me because even then, still like I'll get the game and now you have to
Yep.
download them. Like 360 is awesome because you
Pop
could
the
just
disc in.
you got the game, you pop the disc in, you get a day one patch, and you're
For
good
Miles,
to go.
like it
it's-
was like a 50 gigabyte download, and I'm like, oh, then what the hell did I bought the
yeah,
disc?
like that's ridiculous. What's the point of having the freaking disc? Yeah, then on top of that, you have to download the game. It's just
My
it's
OG
cumbersome.
PS4 barely could
Anyways,
hold like 4 fucking games before I upgraded to the PS4 Pro. Like these are physical games
So,
we're talking
like-
about here.
so like on top of that, like I pick up these games physically, and I'll wait till 2, maybe even 3 days before I throw them into my console or whatever the case is. Before I start playing it, like I don't know, I'll buy a brand new game. I'll be like, cool, now I have this game. Now I'm not in a big rush to play it because I can play it whenever I want to. And that's my only issue with like midnight releases nowadays, and that plus everything being
Oh, nowadays
digital.
it's not because of
You know,
it's not because of COVID, right?
well, that's not. I'm not talking about COVID. I'm just talking about in general. Even last year, as soon as
Yeah.
last year, I'm talking about like these games, they come out digitally. You can
Yeah, they'll be
preload
ready
them
at
so that
12:01, so technically
midnight
you get them faster.
exactly.
Like it's not
Yeah.
like Walmart where it's like open
So
24/7. So you just kind of like what the quote Scott the
yep.
Woz. You kind of just like stand around, try on shoes, and then you run to the video game store and be like, I want to pick up the new Warcraft. But and God forbid if you want to go to a midnight release for a console. Oh boy, man! I remember people waiting up lines for the PS3 and the Wii. But yeah, that's just kind of crazy. So yeah, let's
Yeah.
go ahead and wrap, guys. Kenny, anything else you want to say?
Um, you know, just stay happy and healthy, people, and come check out my Twitch channel. You know, twitch.tv/. I am buttered all together, all lowercase. I haven't been posting recently, but I should be back on schedule as soon as I get my work schedule, you know, straightened
That's
out.
good. I'm like,
It's definitely gonna be a different schedule than what I had set up. So anybody who's watching this podcast that watches my Twitch, I want to thank you for being patient, and I should be on a new schedule here coming
that's
very
good.
soon.
Yeah, I gotta get back into streaming. I'm for sure like when I do get my PS5 and Demon Souls, immediately gonna be streaming that entire game. Over at twitch.tv/Pepper Stream Boy, if I can chill a little. Anyways, so yeah, let's go ahead and wrap, guys. Thank you so much for listening to DKM episode 4. We greatly appreciate you guys. Sorry for the wait for this episode. We're still trying to figure things out. We'll try to get this. We're still trying to get the flow going, but we should be able to get back on schedule fairly quickly. But yeah, thank you so much for listening, and take care. Have a good one.
Peace.